What's up, dude? How are you?
What's going on, bro?
Not much, man. Just making it happen day by day. How about you?
Yeah, it's all a process, step by step.
Everything going good? Your week going good? 75 hard going good?
75 hard's going great. Dude, it's a game changer. Like, I just don't have to care about anything else except executing on this shit. And then the net result of that is just I'm at peak performance. And so I'm definitely on track to probably be on the best shape. Like at the end of this, I will be at the best shape I've been in probably 5 years.
Amazing.
And especially from a body fat percentage, probably not as strong as I've ever been, but I'm treating this as a pseudo cut. And so just with the 2 workouts a day, it makes more sense to progress in that direction. And so I could tell you my body fat content is like deleting off of me right now, just given the diet and the workout choices. And so that the results from that are empowering to see on a day-to-day basis. But then it's fed into everything else. Like my clarity, I don't think I've had this like sober clarity in quite some time. And so it's been a flip switch to get the wheels in motion for just living life with a certain level of intensity.
I was going to ask, you said best shape you've been in 5 years, at least from a body fat percentage. What about best mental shape?
Absolutely the best mental shape. I think the small wins each day, like every day I do it like dopamine hit style. I've got a board and I just like do the X's off each time I hit one of the 5 things. And it has such a positive impact on me being like, well, yesterday was a success. It's very black and white. And then I think that has been, even though we talk about like, we don't think motivation is necessarily real. I think momentum is real. And so it's been 25 days of linear progress, and now I'm starting to see the compounding interest on that. And so from a mental standpoint, I haven't felt this clear in some time. Energy is just generally up, which is just a huge plus of like living in a certain way for an extended period of time. So definitely feeling crystal clear.
Awesome. Well, I guess let's go off of that and kind of, this is our first pod of the week, first pod that we've done in a little while. So maybe let's do an accountability check-in, talk a little bit about our wins and losses that come to our head the most. Go ahead and tell me what you think your top wins and your top losses are for the last week, I guess.
Yeah, so top wins, I think staying in 75 hard just generally is big picture win. I think if I look at it on a macro level, the consistency to diet has been the biggest win. Like that, I started probably with looser rules than I should have at the beginning. I said anything that's Whole30 plus, which basically is just anti-inflammatory foods, plus rice, which in certain cases for certain people can be inflammatory. And then I need to achieve 200 grams of protein a day. And so that could leave room for like sneaking in like higher calorie things that still fall within that inflammatory, like that non-inflammatory bucket. But I've just stayed committed without having gotten specific enough at the beginning, which is a failure to plan that we talk about sometimes. I think I've ended up staying on a diet that's going to let me achieve the low body fat percentage that I'm working towards. I don't know if this is a failure, but I'm finding certain limits with my body in terms of how hard I can push it every day while battling the concern of like, am I going to get myself injured? The example is like, I've been running wind sprints up a hill every day, and then at the top of the hill running more wind sprints. And like, I'm starting to feel it in my like hips and in my shin. And so figuring out like, is that a sustainable, at what point, like, is this bitch voice or is it actual, like, should I listen to my body? And so trying to reconcile that has definitely been a little bit challenging. I think I'm erring on the side of just, it's the bitch voice until proven otherwise. And so,
quick question on that, not to interrupt you, but I'm just curious. Do you have a stretching routine?
I don't have anything consistent that I do myself. In the second workout of the day that I do, it's like a programmed lifting class. And at the end of that class, there's stretching as part of that every day. And so I've relied on that to just make it easy for myself, for that's how I get stretching in. Cause that was a hindrance for me, is there's some sort of imbalance between like I think it was quads and hamstrings, which was leading to like lower back shit. And so having worked on the hips recently a lot at the end of that class, I can tell you I've noticed a huge difference.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. I would say I'll start with losses because that's easy for me to pinpoint right now, which is I skipped a day of working out, which is probably my second or third day of the year that I've missed. So I haven't gone this entire year every single day, and every day that I don't do it, I feel like a piece of shit. Just because my identity at this point is so programmed to be somebody that works out every day. So when I do something that makes my bitch voice kick in and prevents me from working out, even though in reality I could have gotten it done, I feel it's now that I know what I'm capable of, not working out in a day really fucks me up. It really makes me feel like, wow, I failed myself because I know what I'm capable of. Whereas, years ago, if I skipped a workout or whatever, who cares? I'll do it the next day. Now it really gets to me because I'm really letting myself down, which I think is also a win because I have that awareness at this point where even when I'm failing, I really let it burn. That's something that I forgot who said this, but maybe it was Ed Milet, but he said, let your failures burn so that you remember that feeling and don't make that feeling happen again. So on one hand, I went out to a concert, had some drinks. That's also a failure because but also a win at the same time. This is a very interesting dichotomy I'm going to explain here, but both of my failures are also wins because I drank and it was a failure because I felt like shit, and I felt like shit the next morning when I woke up, which caused my bitch voice to kick in, which caused me to miss my workout. It was a double whammy. So major failure right there. But also I consider it a win because, like I just explained, I let it burn. And I really came to understand how missing a day affects me mentally now more than I ever have before. I always knew that, but now like I said, I'm in my peak mental state. I've never been this sharp and this clear. And to make a mistake like that, brought that awareness to light in an even greater way. And then secondly, same thing with alcohol. I know that when I drink, even if it's one drink, I will wake up the next morning and I will not feel as good as if I didn't have a single drink. And it reminded me of that this time extra. And the next morning I woke up and I just kept saying, I would have had just as much fun, if not more fun, if I didn't have a single sip of alcohol. And it was just a constant reminder to myself that like, I don't need to drink in a scenario where my entire life would have been an excuse to go and drink. I don't need to do that anymore to have a good time or just to go and be social. I can go to a concert. I don't have to have a single drink, and I could wake up the next morning feeling great and have my normal routine and work out twice a day and feel amazing that I did both of those things, instead of have this thing that I was very excited for hinder me from getting my workout in the next day. It was just, I went through like this whole reflective process over these 2 days. And that's kind of how I came up with the win versus loss thing. But those were two of my major losses. Wins are, aside from that day, I've continued off of 75 hard to work out every single day, stuck to my diet. And for the most part, I have been doing really well since getting off. So I would just say that I'm in that period right now where in the past, the last few times I've done 75 hard, I have came out and displayed this behavior and then just continued with this behavior, versus this time I'm so aware that this behavior is not what I want to be doing, that it was like reigniting the flame in me by letting it burn to just, become this badass motherfucker that doesn't need alcohol, that doesn't skip a day, even if you wake up feeling like a piece of shit. So yeah, man, that's probably my big losses, and my wins are just the outside of that one day, just consistency in general.
Dude, that's great shit. I think that one of the biggest takeaways for that for me is you've gotten deep enough on this new identity where like the pain is real. Like the pain of not doing it now has surpassed the pain of, or like the pleasure of going out and doing it, because the identity is so deeply rooted in you. And I feel like that is like an entire up level. That's a frame shift from where you've been in the past. And so like that alone, I think is a huge win, just to acknowledge, just to even have the pain as evidence that you've stepped into a new identity. And now you believe it enough. You believe that this is your identity, that shit is like, that pain is real. So you have something that you can burn with. And so I think that is fucking awesome. And then the second thing, we should put a pin in this for another episode, but the reflection process that you went through so that you could feel that pain, you asked yourself the right questions, you framed up like what happened in the right way so that you could build progress on it. I don't think we've got the time in this episode now to go through this, but I think we should definitely put a pin in that, because I think that reflection process is a super tactical way to probably, one, keep that identity like strong, lean into it, build on it. And then two, gives you, it lets you turn these bad experiences into good ones so that you can win next time in an even more meaningful way.
It's also nice. It's also nice to just, like you said, to have that, to be so clear on your identity, to know exactly the type of decisions that you want to make, and to know when you made the wrong decisions and not give yourself any type of excuse. There's a real powerful feeling in that. So I do agree that could be worth an episode in itself, just the reflection period, because that was new for me, and definitely a breakthrough. So I appreciate you saying that, and we'll put a pin in it.
One final thing, just generally fuck alcohol.
It's
like
poison.
Like the reality is, look, it is a lot of fun. Like I'm not going to pretend that it's not fun when I'm doing it, but like the cost for what I want to achieve in my life and like building momentum, I view it as the ultimate momentum killer, because it's like a hard stop every time.
So true.
That it doesn't have to be, but it just feels like it is every freaking time. Like I've been yet to proven otherwise, that it's not some sort of stop.
Nothing
in my
good
life.
comes from it. At least I can't think of anything good
at this point. But I think what it's really evidence of is that you can't create the state change that you want in a situation yourself. You're relying on this chemical to do it for you. And so even more than just like it comes with these bullshit consequences, for me, it's now becoming this like proof that I can't create a positive state change. I can't get into a social vibe. I can't feel good hanging out with people that I want to be hanging out with without some sort of depressant poison. And so that concept, I'm now starting to realize, is going to be in conflict with the identity that I'm currently building, which is somebody that at like the snap of a finger should be able to produce any state that I want internally. Because I think that's the ultimate control of your life and the quality of your life. And so it's like, if I can't do it in a fun social setting, how am I going to do it when I'm sitting at home trying to pump myself up to be, the best spouse or the best business partner? And so for me, it's like this signal of like not being at a certain level, I guess.
100% agree with everything you just said. I've had a lot of conversations with other people about this in the last few days as I was reflecting. And dude, we could do a whole episode on that. But I'm sure we will, by the way, because I'm sure we'll bring on people who are former alcoholics who don't drink anymore, and we'll share their stories. And I'm sure we'll talk lots about people who aren't alcoholics and who just gave up alcohol because they felt like it was holding them back. And all of a sudden they became sober and achieved all these things. I know a lot of people like this. That's why I say that. But all right, cool. Let's dive into some of the other stuff because I'm really excited about it. And I'll let you say it because you came up with this unbelievable movement that we are going to create, the name for it. So what did we decide finally, 7 or 8 or however many episodes in, that we are going to name this motherfucking show?
So we're naming the podcast the Mindset Mogul Podcast. And ultimately, the podcast is going to be an extension for a movement that Josh and I want to start. And the vision for this movement is to empower people to live the best version of themselves, to create a community of people who support each other and uplift each other. Ultimately, our goal is to unlock mental freedom for 1 billion people. And we think it's going to start with this podcast. Ultimately, like mindset, mental fitness, the quality of your life is an everyday, really it's an every moment, but it's an everyday activity that if you can surround yourself with the right people, the right inputs, that is like the level of intensity you need to get what you want out of your mind. And so because of that, we think that a podcast is the perfect place to start because it's an opportunity for us to bounce the most important things, to do this off of each other and then share that with other people, bring guests on who are also like-minded, but use it as a core for a broader movement, a bigger platform to bring people to the table, an entire community to have a conversation around how do we live the best life possible via unlocking our minds.
Love it. You put that perfectly. I love how you said yesterday, the mindset is the foundation for everything good you want in your life. It's to have a great relationship, to have a great business, to have a great body. It all starts with your mindset, and you're never going to have those things without first wanting it, having the desire for it, believing that you can do it. And your mindset is the foundation of all of that. And as far as the community goes, I mean, I'm really excited because if you've watched any of the past episodes, you've heard us and me talk about how much value I've gotten out of being in a community of like-minded people who are there to uplift you and inspire you and help you. And our vision for this community and movement is to build a community where there are tons of other people there with the exact same mindset as you. We could all be going through different problems. We all have different struggles. We come from all different walks of life. But at the end of the day, we all have a similar goal, which is improvement daily, moving forward and progressing in life and living the best version of ourselves. And whatever that may be for you, maybe you're an artist, maybe you're an accountant, maybe you're a fitness influencer, maybe you're a notary, who knows what you are. But at the end of the day, our common goals remain, no matter what walks of life we come from, is daily self-improvement to become the best version of ourselves. And being surrounded by other people who believe that is intoxicating and it's contagious, and it helps you just by being in that energy to live the best version of yourself. So I'm really excited that we are going to be building this movement. It starts here with this pod and just us talking back and forth, bringing on guests, sharing our own life lessons, and we're going to be building out lots of fun things from here. So, yeah, man, I just want to say I'm super excited to be doing this with one of my longest childhood best friends, Bradley Mora. Man, I swear this is like a dream come true, and I'm really, really excited to see what we can do with this. I think in the next year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, we're going to create something here that we look back to this episode and we're blown away with what we've accomplished, although knowing that we're going to do it no matter what. So not really surprised, but you know what I mean.
Dude, isn't this sick?
It's so sick.
Think about it. I think back to having like dinners with you and your mom in your like kitchen when were we like 10 or 11?
Barbecue chicken
like,
pizzas.
And it's kind of been a roundabout path to get circled back here, but like the wheels are in motion. And like, I learned a lot from you in terms of like, you seeded this thought about mindset and pushing yourself in me via what you've done over probably what is like the last 5 years now, and your dedication to basically being a student of mindset and shifting on how you look at life. And I think it's the perfect example of just how contagious that shit is. And once you get a seed of it, it's like addicting, as it should be, because really this is just the pursuit of living a fulfilled and happy life across every single angle. But just like you said it, mindset is just this foundation for all of it. They all will or won't work contingent on the mindset that you have and the brain that you've built for yourself. And I really don't think you can do it in a vacuum. Like the level of like every day I leave these podcasts on a whole different energy level and commitment and recommitment to mindset. So I think the gratitude goes both ways, man. This has been like, this is life-changing for me. We're in the middle of life-changing, and I want that every single day.
Agreed. You said it's addicting, and the reason it's addicting is because it feels really fucking good. It's why drugs are addicting. It's why alcohol is addicting, because you do it and you feel good. This is the same thing, except it's the healthiest way in the world. It's just by unlocking your own mind, you feel better than you feel under any substance, under any experience. You have the power to create that feeling every single day. And that's what's so addicting about it, because we are attracted and addicted to emotions. And when we're practicing the mindset activities or whatever you want to call them that we are, it unlocks that happiness and that emotion and that dopamine. So of course we're going to be addicted to it. And, it's a healthy addiction to have. I will say that for sure. So
it's about the healthiest one I've ever had. So
awesome. All right, cool. Well, the Mindset Mogul podcast, it's official. Thank you everybody for watching. Please subscribe, leave a review. Anything else you want to leave with, Brad?
No, I'm fucking jacked up, man. Let's go.
Me too. All right, sweet. Well, thank you guys, everybody. Official, the Mindset Mogul podcast signing out. We will see you in the next episode. Thank you.